start streaming. Someone tell me if we're live on YouTube. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mike Rosehart Show. We are live, perfect. To the Mike Rosehart Show, where I do live Q&A. I've done it now for almost a year and a half now. It's getting close to that, where I've never missed a week. Hello. I've never missed a week. I've gone live pretty much it has been literally every single week. When I was in Newfoundland, when I was in, no matter where I was, even in California, wherever I was, I did a live stream. So we're all good to go. This post today, before I start, I'll give you an update about what's going on. You know, guys, I've bought a business, and it's really exciting. Medical company business. There's tons of growth potential there. Doing a ton that I want to talk about at some point on the whole real estate ecosphere. So we have like a flipping arm now, which is new. Wasn't doing that before. The mentee fund has evolved into a much more fulfilling passion project for me, and one that's monetarily going to win. So I JV with my mentees, joint venture with them. They're doing a lot of the heavy lifting. The management is on them. I fund the deal. I bring it to them. I mentor them through the whole process. I fund them from the mentee fund. So I provide the down payments. I provide the financing if we need to close in cash and refinance. And I coach them through that financing process. So it's been the most rewarding thing that I think I've done in my life, beyond like having my daughters and like some family stuff and personal stuff. But work-wise, it's the most rewarding thing I've done is coaching my mentees through, Jonas's first fourplex. As you guys know, Michael's taking out his first triplex. We're gonna have another one for Kyle here coming up soon. So just a lot of cool stuff in that pipeline. I'd like to develop that out and flesh it out. But you guys are here and you're wondering, should I, you clicked on this clickbait and you saw like, hey, Mike Rosehart Show might be ending. And we're gonna get into that in a second, because it's not necessarily the case. It could end, but I think more likely it's going to evolve. And so it will continue to happen, but happen in a different way. So stay tuned for that. But so just had a ton of rewarding feedback, and like personally, it just feels really good to do the mentee fund. So I think that's something I'm going to focus more of my energy on as of late. I will still be doing joint ventures. Right Way still exists. We're still going to be doing the odd deals here and there. Still have property management. Still have the construction side. If someone wants to jump on the construction side and help out, I am looking for someone who wants to actively be a 50-50 partner with me on the construction side and run that piece of our business. Our project manager alone cannot handle the workload, and it is taking too much of my time. I'm also hiring a bookkeeper and an office manager. If anyone knows of anyone who's got the skill set, that would free up some of my time. But I feel like at this point in the game, it's I get the most reward by helping other people get involved in real estate investing. I have no interest in managing properties. I have no interest in the construction work. It's not something I'd like to do. I'd like to outsource that and be involved in putting together deals. That's what I'm good at. That's what I'm passionate about. I love creating win-win scenarios where people have a lot of fun. So anyway, let's get into it here. Alex, how you doing? Brandon, good to see you on. So anyway, we're all here in the chat to see on Instagram. People are popping into. Good to see you guys on. Hi, Isabel. And then on Facebook, I see some people are popping into to kind of tune in. So where does the show go from here? Some weeks we get 30, 40 people tune in, 50 people tune in, and it's worth my time and it feels like it's a great investment. But at the same time, there's no business case behind this. Someone challenged me and said, like, is there a business case behind this for what you're doing, with the Wise Wall Show? Why don't you try, actually a friend proposed maybe like what YouTube's doing in places like Brazil and other countries, where they're charging a small subscription fee, and then you get access to the live streams. So there's a barrier to get into the live stream of some sort. So that might be something I consider, where I did like an hour of coaching every single Wednesday. The Wise Wall Show continues, but those who support, who I want to be on to ask questions and watch it, those people will maybe pay like $10 a month or some small nominal amount of money, and they get to ask any questions they want. It'll be more of like a targeted coaching session, and then we'll put the playbacks up probably online for people to watch. I'm all about the free at the end of the day, so I'm going to find a way to just give a lot of it away. At the same time, Kyle is working very hard on the YouTube channel. I would like to see this become a source of income for him. And so that's where the ask is coming from. You guys know I don't need the money, but if we create a system where there's some compensation for this, I can just pass that on to supporting the business. So I think people would support, and I feel like there is something there that I feel like people will be willing to they pay $10 a month, I think, to have access to the questions and to learn and all of that. And you're basically supporting the business and trying to create a business out of it. Not one that makes a lot of profit, but one that just like, if it broke even, that would be cool. I'd be down for that. And I've been giving it away for a year and a half, so I figure, what would I include with that paywall? Probably access to all my spreadsheets. Probably a 2-hour video on how to write an offer. If you're looking to wholesale or write private deal offers, I'll do literally an OBS screen where I write through a private sale offer. How do you write an agreement of purchase and sale? What template do you use? I would give all of that away behind a tiny paywall. So it's like my loyal, 100 people that all pay like $10. Those people would all get access to some great stuff. And someone was telling me they downloaded my tools and stuff like that, my spreadsheet analysis tool that they use to evaluate properties. And they're like, you should actually pay. Like, I would actually pay for this. I'd pay $100 for this tool. It's the best out there. No one's got a tool like this that has automated decision maker in it that tells you to buy or not buy. And they're like, that's cool. You built that in Excel. You should be selling that behind a paywall or something. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to get into selling the courses. It's not my thing. But at the same time, I can understand why you'd want to compensate your guys. You want to make a business case. Most people aren't financially independent like I am and have just spend their time working for free, right? There needs to be a business case. And so money has to be generated to buy equipment, to pay, for us to get new tech, and to pay to support Kyle. So, that's nice. We will support. We love Kyle. Pay Kyle for sure. Exactly. So that's exactly it. And for the first year we had a deal on I gave him below market price on my duplex with the tiny house, but that's going to run out. And so we need to think of a plan where this is going to generate some income, because I compensated giving a house under market value, and now I want to continue compensating in another way. So that's something I'm thinking about. Hey Sophia, good to see you on. I jumped in late, but already excited to catch a glimpse of the new trajectory for the Mike Rosehart Show mentoring. Yeah, so that's exactly it, mentorship. I love mentorship, and I think that there are a lot of people reaching out on my social media network and sending me messages that want me to mentor them. So I'm thinking the Wise Wealth Show is going to become basically that. Behind a small subscription fee that's not a lot of money, like 10 or 15 bucks or something a month, and you get access to these weekly coaching sessions or mentoring sessions, and you bring your deals, look at them in live scenario. It'll be behind a wall though, so I can say things that I couldn't say on the air, right? I can maybe even tell you about something structurally or whatever, and I don't have to worry about my real estate license or anything like that, right? I can just speak freely, and some of that footage we're going to throw up, I think, on the main channel still, or on this alt channel probably, and you'll be able to watch some of the Wise Wealth Show pre-recorded. So the people who are watching this hours from now, who watch the playback every week, you guys will still get a chance to watch. If you wanted to support, that would be cool too. Why is my battery dying here? I might lose Facebook, and I'm sorry if I do, because my battery seems like it's dying here. Anyhow, yeah, I'm kind of curious. Like, jump in the comments if you're watching the replay or watching this now, and just let me know if you'd be open. If we went and set up a Patreon account, would you pay $10 or $15 to have access to weekly coaching sessions with me? It might be a group session of 5 or 10 people. I think more realistically, that's what it would be, like 10 people. And would you be paying $15 a month for something like that, which is like a couple of dollars a session, like $1 or $2 an hour for my time is pretty good. People want to send me $100 just to coach with me. Like, people literally send me $100 to talk to me for 30 minutes on the phone. So imagine getting access to that. That'd be something that I could do. There you go. So we got some people jumping in Brian jumped in and sounds like he would support. Good to see you, Mike. What advice do you have on managing sub trades? I'm 21, wondering how you learned in the beginning, because I want to do a BRRRR and as soon as I have a down payment. Awesome, Brian. Yeah, I answered that question here. Get your battery life in check. Mitchell, yeah, you're actually right, 100%. You know what it is? My other phone here that's streaming to Instagram right now, it's solid, but this is the company phone, and for some reason, no one ever charges it, so I go to grab it every Wednesday out of the office. It's in the boardroom, and it's got like 5% battery every time. And so it's like, but it is plugged in, so if the lightning cable can't keep up with the live stream, that's an Apple problem. Not, like, it's charged right now, so assuming that the battery will last with the charger plugged in, we're gonna be good, but we'll see. So it looks like there's some support. I feel like there's like probably 20 or 30 people right now would pay for that, to have access to all of my Excel tools, to have access to, for instance, example offers that I've written and things like that, and even a video where I walk through how you write a private sale offer. No one knows where to start, like how to write an offer. I couldn't even believe, even my own mentees need to be taught how to write offers. It seemed like something that was intuitive to me, but I thought about it and I'm like, wow, actually, you know what? My first offer I wrote took me almost all night. And I was like, cribbing example offers offline, trying to copy things and then sending it to a realtor to review it. It was wild. And I realized that I take for granted a lot of the skills that I have, like just writing an offer like that to get a deal done. Most people don't know how to even put together an offer. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to do courses. It's not my thing. I don't have the time right now to do that. But I think that we need to make a business case out of the whole social media YouTube thing so that Kyle can make some money. And so I am going to put in energy, more energy than I'm putting in now, to deliver a better product that will generate some revenue so that Kyle can have a wage. And that's my ask for you guys. If you support that, I would appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, so let me see. Get some questions here. I pay for Patreon. Thank you. I'm down for this. It sounds too good to be true for such a small subscription fee you're throwing out there. But guess what? I believe and can't wait to see you coach me. I'm ready to e-transfer. Yeah, it's time is the biggest thing. I can carve out my Wise Wealth show for an hour and a half every Wednesday, but people are sending me, like, I had to send back an email transfer. Someone literally sent me $100 and was like, please just let me talk to you on the phone for 30 minutes. And I had to send it back because I'm so busy with all the stuff I'm doing. I have 9 businesses that I'm involved in. I'm doing real estate transaction, all this other kind of stuff that I'm so busy I had to send the money back. Like, that's how bad it is. But I need to make myself available. People want it. They want to have time to talk with me. I don't have time to have one-on-one calls, but I could do small group coaching calls where the same question could help 5 people. We could spend a Wise Wealth show specifically on how to write an offer or specifically on how to walk through a property. And I'm thinking about this like behind a paywall. Then I can, if it's behind a paywall, not everyone can see it, right? I can't go to a property, for instance, and walk around for liability purposes. But if it was like a Patreon thing where it was only certain people could get in and ask questions who were already on like the loyal subscription base, then I can talk about things. I can walk around and say, hey, there's a structural crack here. I'm not worried about the investor suing me or the realtor or like anyone else suing me, right? So I can speak more freely. We can do some more creative sessions at properties. If I have Wi-Fi at that work site, which some of our work sites we buy Wi-Fi, I could go there and do a live stream from a site. Or again, we could just do coaching and stuff. So it's some opportunity for it to evolve. The show isn't dead. It's probably still going to go up as a playback. Good portions of it at least to go back up as a playback. On Wednesday after it's done, Kyle will just upload it in its raw form and that's it. And so it'll kind of create basically a business case for this because YouTube ad revenue, we're making nothing. Like it's like $180, $200. It's not enough for the amount of hours we put into editing and filming and all of that. It's just not enough to even keep the lights on. So yeah, I'm going to keep doing the YouTube thing no matter what. I'm going to always do a video every single Saturday. You don't have to worry about that. But the end of the way we do the Wise Wealth show now, I think is coming. And so it'll be a couple more weeks where I'll continue to introduce it. Some people don't get on every week. They catch me on the second or third week. So I'll do a few more of these and we'll do some live questions here. I'm going to answer that question you asked specifically about managing sub trades in a sec here. But that's the evolution. If you'd support, that'd be awesome. To take it even a step further, like if you want to get on an email list, you can send me an email to like rosehartproperties@gmail.com. And if we decide to do Patreon or Kyle's going to try to figure out what we're going to do, then we can send you a link to that. And if we can get some subscription going, that'd be kind of cool. It's like what the super chats used to do, but because I don't go on my main channel anymore, I can't super chat. So this YouTube channel doesn't have the subscriber base or the views or the watch time. My main channel does. So super chats can't exist. And so there's no way to get any revenue for Kyle. Like we have like 3 cameras set up. Kyle's here listening. We have a bigger operation and we've got to generate something to keep the lights on. So anyway, that's coming and it won't be much. It'll be such a nominal amount of money that like, yeah, literally like if someone was really not able to afford like $15 a month, I'd probably just comp it for them and let them come into the live stream, give them a free key or something like that. But if you can support, it'd be great. The amount of value I'm going to throw out, I promise, will be like 10x. Uncle G style 10x what it would cost, probably more. So anyway, cool. You asked about managing sub trades, and I think it's a good piece. It's a lot of work to manage a lot of sub trades, but to manage one project is not so bad. So if you're buying your first property and you're just managing the sub trades on that site, I'd recommend just going there, on your weekends and after work, and schedule guys to work. You'll find on Craigslist or Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, you'll find decent guys who will work for decent rates, and you work with them. So maybe you're buying their materials so they don't have to run to the store, because no contractor wants to run to Home Depot or Rona or Lowe's and spend an hour and a half trying to find materials. So you can run and get materials. By being a runner, you learn how the materials work. You learn how they're used and installed. And so I would buy the material back in the day when I was 19, doing my first burr, my first house hack. I was renovating my basement. We put a full washroom and we jackhammered the concrete. I learned how to slope plumbing, all these things, all the bits and pieces like Ys and TYs and all the plumbing pieces I learned because I went and had to go to Home Depot and find those parts I needed and build the diagram that the plumber drew for me. And so I learned how the pieces went together, brought them back, and I helped him install them, right? I had the expert plumber doing it all properly, and I was there as their helper. So they didn't need to charge me for a second person. It saved me a lot of my renovation budget, and I learned how to manage by working with the guys. It's a different size of a beast when you get bigger because I'm no longer able to be on site. And so when you have, like I have 12 projects going, I couldn't even be more than a half hour on each site. And so I can't physically build a bond with a lot of these contractors. And that was the way that I used to get things done. Like, when there's a push and the guy and you have a bit of a rapport, they'll stay a couple hours extra. But if you're not on site, the guys just go home at 5 o'clock. Like, they don't have a need to push. So I've always found that having someone on site, and that's why we hired a project manager. It was a tough decision for us to get to that point where one of our contractors, we kind of have him doing project management now. And it's tough because you have to decide, is there, like, having project managers on site, motivating the guys and keeping them moving and keeping the questions answered, is that going to add more value than the cost of that overhead of that person? And I found the answer is yes in most cases. If you especially have a few guys on site and they get stuck, then having someone there to push them and motivate them and answer their questions and keep their materials flowing, that all adds value. And so how do you do it? You just start. You start with one sub-trade and you work with him and you ask him what he needs. So by managing him effectively through helping him, that's what managing a sub-trade is helping them. The biggest thing I think is you being organized and prepared. So before the plumber came, at my lunch break, I would draw a plan of what I wanted to do. So when I met the framer after work, I knew exactly where the walls were going to be. I'm not humming and hawing of where the wall is going to be, what's going to happen here. I know exactly what my plan is, and I can help them get to work and be there to answer their questions so they can just get on the tools and go. That's the biggest piece of managing sub-trades, I think, is having your act together. So great question. If I didn't answer it sufficiently, feel free to jump back in and I'll chime in a second time. Yeah, awesome. Appreciate the support so much. I have a sighting of an apartment tomorrow. Do you know some good questions I can ask the real estate agent that's showing me around? On Monday, everybody can send their offer? ? So Marco, yeah, so it looks like you're seeing an apartment as in like buying an apartment. Maybe throw that, my other daughter is just screaming in the background. Maybe we'll throw that mattress against the door. Sorry guys if you're hearing the crying. This is what having a newborn is like, and I'm still streaming every week. Most people have a 4-week-old newborn and a 3.5-year-old daughter, and all the businesses they run would just cancel it and be like, sorry, I'm too busy, but I'm still here, committed. And we're writing up an offer on a property as a realtor that's happening right now, and I'm going to negotiate again. I was calling just before this, I got on the stream, and again at 9 o'clock I'm going to deal with that offer and we're going to hopefully have this property sold. So I'm doing like a million things all at once, and for you guys, I'm going to keep doing that. But anyway, so to answer your question, you're asking what kind of things to ask. It depends on the property. So if you're renting the property or buying the property, it's sort of different. Maybe you can clarify down there. Future Wiz, it's not the end. Don't worry. Tiger Rocks, is this 100% going to happen? No, nothing's 100%. I'm like 50-50 right now. I don't know what I'm doing. Mike's a grinder. Newborn won't stop him. True. But yeah, I have to do family time. I have to keep the stream kind of short. Keep it like an hour or less. And then Kyle, thanks for helping keep the momentum for YouTube going. So grateful. Yeah, exactly. A lot of times it's been Kyle that's been keeping things going. And again, just pushing. That's people ask how you do it. You just push.
How many times have I stayed up all night getting a video out for the next day?
100%. Like, how many times do we stay up till 3, 4, 5 in the morning even, like still doing thumbnails? It's ridiculous. Not a lot of people would do that, would keep grinding to get that video out for Saturday at noon when we were so pushed all week. We're like, holy crap, it's Friday. We got to edit a video and get it out and do a thumbnail and do a keyword search and title. People think that's quick, but we spend like between the two of us probably 15 hours at least. At least, right? Like 20 hours maybe even, right? So we're getting more efficient and faster, but the learning process, it obviously takes some time, right? To get that proficiency. Yeah, exactly. So it's just the way it is. And no, it's not ending. It's just changing in the format. So more clickbait than anything else. Okay, so to answer your question, what should you ask? It depends is the thing. I don't know if you can clarify down below, but if you're still watching, if you're renting an apartment, then I would say you'll want to ask things like, are the utilities included? You might ask, I don't know, just questions about the neighborhood or about the landlord you're dealing with, that sort of thing. If you're buying an apartment, then that's totally different. There's a totally different set of questions you'd want to ask, for sure. So, okay, so it looks like buying. So if you're buying a place, then you'd want to get all the information on the property. Everything from what are market rents in the area, what are the school districts, like what are the schools in the area, what are the amenities that are nearby. Lean on the agent. First thing I would say is like, can you pull me 5 comps? What is the ARV? The agent doesn't know. You explain to them after renovated value. Like, what is this property worth? Send me 5 comps of this property fully maxed out, renovated, and really nice. And send me 5 comps of what they look like right now. If you can see 5 things that have sold in the area that are like your property, comparables, and then you find 5 that are what your property is going to become after you've remodeled it, you can get a feel for, is my renovation budget on point? You could ask the agent, what do you think about the renovation budget here? Most of them don't have an idea, but you could ask them and just see, right? And then decide, is this a good buy or not, based on, what is the potential rent? What are the potential expenses? If there's condo fees, what are the condo fees and HOA fees and things like that? The agent needs to know all of that. Make them work. Make them pull 3 to 5 comps, that can show value. Unless, you might be dealing with a really good agent who can just tell you right then that, hey, the after renovated value is this. This is the range for what it's worth, and this is what you're buying it for. Here's the amount of renovation you're going to need to spend, and here's the upside. And lay it out clearly for you. That's what you need to know when you're buying a property. Definitely. Ask the questions. The more questions you ask, the better. Most agents can't lie, but if they don't say something because you didn't ask, then sometimes that's onside. So just be careful. Ask as many questions as you can. Are there any material things you know about this property? Any defects you know about? Those kinds of things, and they'll have to disclose that stuff, especially if you ask. So you can ask questions like that, like you can ask some specific questions, like why they maybe, what would they do if they bought it, or that kind of thing. Let us know how it works out. Definitely, we're gonna let you guys know. Have you ever thought of a rent-to-own duplex? I've done upgrades to the duplex without going above and beyond. There isn't too much left to upgrade, and rents are at or above market rents. So rent to own, interesting. So we can talk about rent to own a little bit. So the rent to own idea is effectively you bring in a tenant, they give you a very large deposit, similar to a down payment, but slightly less than normal down payment. And you take that, agreement of purchase and sale contract of selling the property, and you defer it out like 3 to 5 years, conditional or something. Or you can structure it so they have the first right to purchase at a given price, typically adjusted to inflation each year. So you'd say adjusted up 3% or 4% each year, maybe 5%. Some tenants will agree to crazy things. Typically the rent to own thing is most savage on the tenant. So the tenant usually doesn't, or like half the time doesn't close, and they burn their deposit, or something happens, they can't get financing, so they don't end up buying it, or the market goes down and they're stuck in a contract that guarantees that they have to buy it for 15% more in 3 years than what it is worth now, so they end up overpaying for the property. That kind of stuff usually happens. The typical idea is in a rent to own, you make them pay way more than market rent so that they can build up more down payment over the time, and then when in 3 to 5 years, when the rent to own contract comes due, then the person would buy the house from you. There are guys who facilitate this trade, and they basically bring the tenant and they bring the property together, and then they bring an investor together, and they put the whole deal together, and they get a decent cut of that down payment that goes in, and they charge a lot of fees, and effectively they broker the whole thing and don't provide any investment capital, and they just broker it. So that's like rent to own in a nutshell. Rent to own can be very attractive because the tenant has an equity stake. So they're going to pay on time. If they don't, you're going to keep their deposit. And typically this deposit is huge. And so there's incentive for them to want to take care of the property. Oftentimes these tenants will renovate their properties, and they'll add $10,000 or $15,000 to them. Sometimes it goes bad, and a tenant gets in there, renovates over their head, destroys the house, it's gutted, and they walk away from their down payment, their deposit. And you're stuck in a rent-to-own deal with a trashed property. It's a risk. I've seen it happen a couple of times. I've went in to offer to buy those properties after that's happened, where I get a bit of a deal, a discount. So just be careful with rent-to-own. It can be very lucrative and very juicy if structured right. I think if I was going to do rent-to-owns, I'd want to be on the brokering of the deals. I wouldn't want to really be the investor that much, because I can get better returns buying the properties myself than getting the fixed rate return. But I guess if an investor, it's almost, rent-to-own could be a more attractive option than private lending in some situations, depending how it's structured. The ROI could be better and operate in a similar fashion. But I always just prefer buying properties to doing anything else. If you're looking for extremely passive lending, rent-to-own can be a good one. So can private lending. But yeah, good questions overall. I've considered it. I've just never I've never found a rent to own that worked out. I had a tenant that gave me a large deposit once, greater than the last month's rent, and they were intending to want to buy it, but we didn't do a contract because I didn't want to lock them in, and I was worried that they would just shop the contract in the future and sell it to someone else. So I didn't sign a contract, but I told them verbally that they'd have the right to buy it when the time came. So I've done deals sort of like rent to own without the proper contracts behind them. So yeah, rent to own can be very attractive, specifically for the person putting the deal together, not really for the investor, or the tenant gets scalped. Like it's the worst. So I don't know why people do rent to owns. You're gonna ask why? Well, why? Because often these people are uneducated, or they have bad credit, or they don't have a lot of savings. They just want to get into a property they can own that's their own, and they're hoping for a big appreciation, and they just want that pride of home ownership. So rent to own can work. It's just not financially the smartest. It's like, I don't know, it's like going to Money Mart or like Payday Money Loan Store. Those kind of people typically love the rent to own, especially if they have really high income and they can't qualify for a mortgage now, but in 2 years they'll be able to, and they just want to get into a house. They'll pay a premium for that. They'll say, hey, I'm okay paying double market rent for the next 3 years. Even though I'm throwing money away to the investor, I like the fact that I can own today, and I want to be invested in it today. So there's emotional reasons why people do rent to own. Financially, not always the best, but again, you're not preying on the financially literate people typically when you're doing a rent to own deal. You're preying on someone's emotion who wants to get into a property, maybe sooner than they probably should. Okay. Or pay via any platform. Like, you deserve to grow your audience. We'll do everything possible to go the long mile with you, the sharpest young millionaire mentor there is out there from Canada. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that so much. That's a really great comment. Made me feel really good about myself. And Kyle and I appreciate that a lot. And we are going to take you up on that. We're going to put something together. So there is some sort of paywall. Even if you just look at it as a donation, it's like, hey, I'm just going to donate like $15 towards Mike and Kyle to help support the venture that they're doing, support their gear, and support all the things that they're doing. Because I don't get paid from the Wise Wall Show. There's no super chats anymore. So that's sort of a way to monetize it, just to keep the lights on. Cool. Next question is, I have a question about how many mortgages. Some banks will not give mortgages over 3 to 5 properties. How do you maneuver around this issue? So D's information, we're going to talk a little bit about that now. So TD, BMO, CIBC's new rule, they used to go to 10 properties. Now they're doing like 5, I've heard, with one bank. Most will go up to 10 in total. So you could give 5 at CIBC, 5 at TD. Just don't, people stay at one bank like, oh, my mortgage broker at this bank said I can't go past 5 properties. Let's dig into that a little bit further and find out like why they said 3 and not 5 first off, because it's 5 everywhere. Credit unions will go up to 50. You can get 50 properties at certain credit unions, especially if you open in some corps and structure them in an advantageous way, like Meridian Credit Union and that sort of thing. We'll keep going. Scotiabank is known to do 10, but I know someone who's got 5 at CIBC and 10 at Scotiabank. So I know Scotia, for instance, if you don't go through a broker channel, you go direct to Scotia, you get 10 mortgages. I love Scotiabank. I have great contacts there. They have a really aggressive rental program. I love CIBC and I love RBC. I hate TD and I hate Bank of Montreal for mortgages. Got this free shirt, so I'm wearing it. All my banking stuff, a lot of my banking stuff I do at Bank of Montreal, only because they were the first to take a chance on me at 19, give me a mortgage. They also have a deal if you're JVing with people. Pro tip, you're setting up a JV agreement, then you want to set up a bank account for that joint venture partnership where you can deposit the rents and you guys can each have all your expenses go out of that one joint account. At Bank of Montreal, you can have 20 accounts for free under a lead account. And you can have different people with different bank cards on each one. I have all 20 bank accounts on one card, one debit card, and none of my investor partners pay any bank draft fees, any fees at all. Feeless, completely free bank account at Bank of Montreal, as long as you have a lead account that pays the fee. Or you keep $6,000 in that lead account, and all 20 accounts are free, including the first one. So Bank of Montreal is the best for real estate JV bank accounts. That's what I like BMO for. They suck for mortgages for the most part. It has been my experience. There's probably someone out there who's a good mortgage broker with BMO. I've just found that they're not as aggressive. They don't want the business as much as Scotiabank and CIBC and RBC do. RBC is really hungry for those 5 and 6 plexes as residential mortgages. CIBC, traditionally, if you had cash, they were very aggressive. They didn't care about the stress testing rules. I was getting mortgages in 2017, 2018, after the stress testing rules, based on cash. Like, I didn't have income, but I had cash. And they're like, you're rich, high net worth program, automatic approval. Scotiabank has a program right now, no job, high net worth, good to go for a mortgage. So there are still ways to get things done. People just don't know who to talk to. They talk to 2 mortgage brokers because 90% don't know what they're talking about, and they think that that's it, right? So it's important, I think, to talk to more people, talk to guys like myself who've been doing this for a long time, who've got lots of properties, because we've found ways around. There are ways around it all. And like I said, doing all your business banking at one location, probably not the smartest. You want to diversify where your mortgages are coming from. I know people that even close 5 properties all at once before they quit their job, and they close one at TD, one at BMO, one at Scotia, one at RBC, one at CIBC all at once, and they put 5 mortgages all at once. It doesn't appear on their credit score for 30 days after. So you get 5 mortgages all at once. So if let's say you're at maxed at 9, you're ready to get to your 10th mortgage, go buy 5 properties, and then you'll be at 14, and then you can quit your job. There's lots of things you can do that people do to get around these sorts of things. So just because and like, I hate talking about this stuff publicly. If I was doing behind a paywall, then I could be more freely and open and speak more in a way that was, anyway, I just don't want to get into liability issues. I'm just afraid of that as a channel grows. So I think a paywall does make a lot of sense. The more I think about it, the more I think it makes a lot of sense to have like a small, like tiny subscription fee, like $3 a session or something, like a very small amount, just enough to keep the lights on, where I'm able to say what I want to say without risk. So anyway, we'll keep doing it for now, and we'll see what. Maybe I'll just keep doing it, and maybe people will just volunteer to pay for it, and I'll just keep it free for everyone. I don't know. Get in the comments and tell me what you guys think. DM me and give me your thoughts. So good question, D's information. Tiger Rocks, I answered that question. Is this 100% going to happen? I don't know, but something needs to happen, generate enough revenue for us to pay for equipment that breaks and new equipment that we want to get, and some labor expenses like editing, etc., that we're spending money on. It'd be nice to just generate enough to cover that. So that would be ideal. Yeah, so if you guys wanted to volunteer up some, even a couple of bucks, it all helps. Second question is, some banks only give 20-year mortgages for investment properties. I didn't know that. I thought it was 25-year for everyone. But have you run into this issue? No, I've never run into this issue. Everyone's done 25-year mortgages that I've dealt with, but is 20-year, 25-year that much different for your cash flow? Not really. Your interest rate is the same, so who cares? Yeah. Go down here and hit question from the bottom. Closed 5 at a time, calling it the stealth close. Yeah, we can brand out the stealth close. There are people who do stealth close, a couple at the same time, and so that's kind of an aggressive way to get things done. Hey Steve, good to see you on. You're in the Midwest USA. That's awesome advice, man. Would your opinion be doing rental properties, burrs, and Airbnbs in New Mexico? They're famous for architecture, but houses of a different style. So yeah, I mean, you gotta run your numbers. I think in the Midwest, there's some really good cash flow, like really attractive cash flow. $200,000-$300,000 gets you a decent property that has great rental prospects. So yeah, I'm really interested. When I eventually expand into the U.S. with some JV partnerships and things like that, Midwest is going to be the place I'm going to hit the hardest. The coast tends to have the worst cap rates. Now, one more reason you're probably still with BMO is because of their elite credit card benefit. Yeah, they have some really great benefits. When I'm traveling, I get like free food at the lounges. I get to hang out in there, free unlimited drinks and stuff like that. Like, some of their credit card stuff is great. BMO does have a lot of great things that they do, and at Scotia and BMO, they'll move mountains for me because of the business I've done for them. So reputation does go a ways, but at the same time, sometimes that isn't even enough to get a deal done. You have to go to 5 different lenders and try all 5. You'll get financing burnout because you're going to spend 20 hours at each lender trying to fight, and it's going to be 100 hours to close the deal. It's a lot of work, but with great amount of work comes great profit. Okay. Hey, no problem. Happy to give my time out. Thank you. Appreciate that comment. Hey, Mike, my question tonight is about motivation and vision. Why do you keep going after your first place or two why do you keep going after your first place or two weren't very profitable? What convinced you that you were doing the right thing? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying now. So why did I keep going after my first couple places weren't that profitable? So my first place wasn't that profitable. You guys know that. My second place wasn't that profitable either. I learned a lot. I still made probably $10,000 or $20,000 on each deal, which is like nothing now. But back then, $10,000 or $20,000 was a lot of money. And to make 10 grand, even if it's a 10% return, I was like, wow, I made 10% return. Now I have passive income coming in, and my time wasn't valuable back then. So I had to say to myself, what else would I be doing with my time? Like, would I be gaming? Back then I didn't have kids, so my first couple rentals in 2012, and then my second one in like 2014. I got that under contract. I was thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing with my time anyway? Playing League of Legends and World of Warcraft. At that time, probably League of Legends. What would I have been doing with my time? And I wanted financial independence so badly that literally, like, William, if you held $100 bill and told me I had to run 5 miles for it after work, I could run 5 miles for that bill. So I was just hungry for money, and some money is better than no money. And I learned early on that I was realizing that I was making mistakes. Like, I knew in my first project I went over budget on renovations and it took forever to get finished, and I under rented. All those mistakes I realized after I made them, right? And so I'm like, oh, next time I'll do better. And so you'll know if your first project doesn't go very well that you've learned from that, and you won't make that mistake a second and third time. And so you just run the numbers and decide, hey, like, the returns are amazing. I also am a bit of an analytic, and so I figured out that if I bought certain types of properties, I'd make a lot of money, a really great return on my money. And so, yeah, the numbers they do support being investing in real estate. There's no stock portfolio that performs near as well as levered real estate. I'm not going close to anything that performs as well as levered cash flow real estate. Levered 5 to 1, 20% down payment, 80% from the bank. When you're levered 5 to 1, you get a 10% return. It becomes 50% on your down payment, right? So your money grows so quickly when you can use the bank's cheap debt to really grow. The only thing that I think has more performance or can do better is buying businesses, private small businesses. I'm talking under 10 million in revenue, between 1 million and 10 million in revenue. I don't like really small businesses, like small businesses, $1 million to 10 million in revenue. And you guys know this week we're closing on that. We got it all done, raised the capital, buying a $3.5 million business this week. Really excited for that. It's in Toronto, Etobicoke area. So really excited for that. A lot of U.S. and Australia and Europe sales. So it's a international company manufacturing in China products they have patents on. I'm excited to talk more about that on the channel, but I can't talk about it yet until we close. So that's this week. Stay tuned next week for me to talk about that, because business is the highest return, even higher than real estate, but the time investment and the risk is higher. Real estate's risk to reward is insane. Like, the level of risk investing in cash flow real estate under market price, in a recession you hold and you have $1,000 a month coming and you're all good, right? So I feel like real estate for the risk is really good. Businesses can fail. On a turn of a dime, you can have a business no longer cash flow, right? You can have a business, sales drop, cost changes, you have a competitor come in and crush you. There is no real competitor in real estate. Like, if you provide housing for people need somewhere to live. And so it takes a long time to build more units and build more inventory. So really, it's a really stable business. Your customers are easy to find. You don't have to make sales. So it's stable. Real estate's safe. I'll always have a piece of my safety net in real estate, and I think it performs better than stocks. But diversification is important. And with higher risk in business investment, you can get much greater returns. So you can build a business, you can grow it 3-4 times its size, you can make 1,000% on your money by putting in effort, energy, and skill. Same is true in real estate, but more so in business. And so you take a higher risk, but you get a better return. So great question overall. That's awesome advice, man. What would be your opinion on doing rentals, BRRRRs? And I answered that question already. Second question, do you worry about sourcing from China? Feel free to skip if you want to be off record. So yeah, we actually have my business partner buying this with us was born in China, so he's fluent. He has family connections there that are such that these factories will not screw us over, or they will pay a price economically. So he will be going to China and managing our relationship with our engineers there and our manufacturers there. So on the business that we're buying, he'll be in charge of most of the product ordering and things. So the three of us buying this business together, each bringing a unique skill set. The third business partner is an Amazon boss. I'd love to get him on the YouTube channel. At some point, I'm going to get him on for you guys to see him. He wrote an algorithm code that sells things on Amazon, and he's making over 6 figures a month, just selling things on Amazon. Crazy. The guy's online programming skills and online Amazon skills are top notch. He's going to bring our online sales way up. We each bring unique skill sets to the business, and that's important when you're buying a business together, that you all bring and add value. So I'm not worried because we're mitigating that risk with skill. We'll have, someone will be there dealing with a lot of that as we buy from China. But normally, yes, Normally, when you're buying from China, you got to be very careful. We will literally have a depot in China. We'll have someone managing and walking through the factory and ensuring that the engineer's specifications are being met for these medical products. Yeah, because a mistake, there was one, these things happen, right? You got to be prepared for them, and we have a repair tech and stuff like that if something did go wrong. But yeah. Tiger rocked. How often would you post if we pay? So Tiger, good question. I think it'll be a weekly mentoring session. If there was like a pay wall going on, I think it will be such that we'll have a weekly mentor session. But I'd be open to having more if the demand was necessary. Like if people feel like they needed a second coaching session, I'd be open to doing another stream specifically for that as well. Like maybe a second half-hour stream or something where we did live Q&A. You can save up your questions and we can answer them together. I'm open to that. I'm hoping that by providing my tools and my Word documents that I use for offers and my analysis tools and things like that, there'll be some value. Instead of just selling them for like a one-time like $500 course, I'm just going to do basically a subscription fee that's going to keep the lights on, so I can make a business case for paying a salary to Kyle into buying more equipment. So I want to generate some revenue from this so that it can at least break even. Right now I'm putting money in, right? I'm literally paying to spend my time doing something. Like who pays to work? Like I literally pay for work. We have the same issue on construction where we misquoted some jobs and we're literally paying to do the renovation work. Like I'm paying my investor to work for them. That's ridiculous. I don't want to be in a friend of mine who's a business guy I went to school with is like, this is ridiculous, man. Like looking at what we're doing, some of my businesses are like literally losing money. He's like, you're literally working, doing something you don't necessarily love, like work, right? Where I'm spending time helping people you're paying to do that, right? You should at least be paid something or at least break even, right? You shouldn't be losing money to work. Volunteering should be free. Like when you volunteer somewhere, usually they will, comp your gas or something, whatever, like they don't make you lose money to volunteer. So something to think about. Anyway, okay. Mike Rosehart, you ever get your testosterone level checked? I think you must have high T for you to handle all that stress. Yeah, definitely. Like the level of I've had my adrenal levels tested, so I had really high cortisol in my bloodstream. I actually do have high cortisol in my bloodstream, which cortisol is produced from stress. I've been under prolonged stress for so long that I think my body's just used to it. Like what happened this morning when I woke up, we had 2 deals. Oh, I should probably celebrate. We're closing a 7-plex here in London. It's a great deal. I'm really excited about. Tons of cash flow. I closed today on a property in Mount Bridges that I sent out to the investor buyer network. No one wanted it, so I'm going to buy it. I put it in I have a flipping company called Ivy Elite Real Estate flipping company. So it's just designed for buy and then flip. Raised some investor capital in the last week. That was really exciting to have an investor back us with a lot of capital, which is great. Really excited about that, and I'm looking for more of those people. So if you guys know any tiger sharks or whales that are interested in investing, I'd like to build something of a mentee fund with that, where this fund basically is JVing with mentees, helping them get into real estate. The goal is to get these guys to financial independence. So like over a 3 or 4 year period, similar to going to school for 4 years, you'd come to Rosehart University for 4 years and you'd get deals done. And by the end of it, instead of having $100,000 in debt, you'd have $500,000 in net worth and you'd have $5,000 a month in cash flow coming in. You'd be financially independent with some properties. We'd be JV'd together where I'd win too because I'd be getting money to pay back the investors who are funding the mentee fund. So that's where I'm evolving towards, and I think I just get the most reward from it. I get more reward from doing that than just doing all the work myself and then partnering with a money partner. I think that I'd like to bring the money partner and the mentee together and exist as the mentor. It's just more fun and more rewarding. So that's kind of where it's evolving, I think. But yeah, definitely health is not great. I admittedly have way too much on my plate and I work way too hard. I would like to sleep 8 or 9 hours a night, and it's been a long time since I've gone to bed. I don't think I've gone to bed before 3 in the morning in a long time. And many times I get woken up at 8 in the morning. So my sleep is not great, admittedly. I get excited, right, about like making money, less about making money, but more about like helping my investors, my employees. Like I have people that rely on me to pay their mortgage. And so I can't let those guys down. So I would never close up my property management or my construction. Yeah, that's what motivates me at the end of the day is responsibility to others. I'm just a very loyal person, and my reputation means too much to me to just back down. So instead, I just take on more stress. I need to outsource more. So if someone wants to come run our construction business and make a whole bunch of money, feel free. Future Wiz, is this those juicy deals? What's he talking about, juicy deals? I'm not sure what that's related to. I've been looking to make a foray into Amazon sourcing business, but haven't had the right momentum to do so. Be happy to jump in when you hit the ground running. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be getting into like selling things on Amazon beyond the products that we manufacture in our medical business. So we will sell our products that we have patents on. But yeah, anyway, it's gonna be exciting to kind of see how we do with that. The challenge I think with most people doing the Amazon thing is, unless you have a really good barrier to entry, like you're the only person who can supply that product, which is something we should do, is get a exclusive. So we're the only person that can sell that product. Call it, like the camera, bag or something on Amazon. We're the only person that can sell that. That gives us a competitive advantage. Or if it's a way we can use data to determine which keywords are going to do well. Like you can imagine, like maybe no one's searching cup, everyone's searching like glass. And so by changing the name from like, cool World of Warcraft cup to glass, you'll start to get a huge momentum of sales. So it's crazy how much data analytics comes into play. A lot of people like to advertise and then sell stuff on Amazon. They use ads to generate their income. I don't like that because you have to invest in ads that could fail, and the risk of loss is really high. So I don't think it's a good investment to spend a bunch of money advertising to make sales on Amazon. I like to do Amazon. I like to sell products that I don't have to advertise at all, where the product sells itself, or you market it in such a way, like you position it in such a way that you don't have to advertise. That way you don't have any loss. Keep your downside risk low. That's why I always buy businesses that cash flow strong, that have good, stable trajectories, that aren't startups. That's why I buy real estate, because it's safe. My downside risk is very low, and I try to get as much upside risk as I possibly can. It's just been my strategy to investing, and it's why I'm a multimillionaire today, and why I'll probably be a billionaire in my lifetime, because I make conservative bets, right? I'm always watching my downside with huge upside exposure. People think I'm taking risk. In my opinion, when the debt is being self-serviced, I'm not taking much of a risk at all. If you really crunch it and dig into it, you do understand that there's not a lot of risk really being taken. So can it be like a cheap monthly rate? 100% it can be cheap. And you know what? There'll be exceptions. Like if someone has no money, that's cool. I understand. It won't be a lot of money. It'd be like a couple of bucks. Maybe a couple of bucks a week or something really small like that. Just so that it had, it'd work out to a couple of bucks a week. Just so there was something to keep the lights on and not lose money. It's a very small niche group. If we get like a couple hundred people that tune in, then I can obviously drop the price per person a lot, because then there's like a lot of people supporting the program. So we'll see what kind of support we get. Thanks, Dee's information. Congratulations on the property closing and the company acquisition. Thanks, appreciate that. I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm gonna go eat some dinner. We had some lasagna, some kale lasagna cooking. It's pretty much done. I'm excited for it. So thank you all for tuning in. It's not going away, but it would be nice if people wanted to support. Okay, someone just jumped a comment on Instagram. I just ran across your video on YouTube, and I'm checking out what you're all about. I teach high school math, which includes personal finance class. Any advice for 17 and 18-year-olds? Mimi, thanks for the question. Appreciate you finding me on YouTube there. That's awesome. And welcome to following me on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, I mean, a lot of 16 to 18-year-olds follow my channel. There's a lot of people in that range. Primarily, my channel is viewed by 35 to 50-year-olds. I don't know why. It's just most people, like, I guess, they start thinking about retirement. They hate their job. Maybe they're thinking about their financial future, and that's why they find my channel. But yeah, I've got a lot of great advice. The most important thing, there's a video you could show them on, type in compound interest on my channel, and you'll find a video of how to turn $1 into $64. If you're 17 years old today, every dollar you save and invest now at retirement is $65. That means that you have 65 times the upside. If you invest in real estate the way I did, it's like 150 times, because your rate of return is obviously higher. So I remember when I was 16, I learned about the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. And I figured out that it's a freaking miracle. If you're young, you start working today at 17, you save $10,000, you invest that, it becomes hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't touch it and you let it grow and invest it. So if you're young, you can be rich. Doesn't matter. If you work at McDonald's, you can be rich. You can be a millionaire, but working at McDonald's. So you can aspire for more than McDonald's, be even richer. it's about making choices to delay gratification today and invest in your future, and that's huge. So just teaching the concept of like how anyone can become a millionaire on a small amount of money. That's huge. Basic like delayed gratification stuff, pay yourself first kind of stuff. Um, it's all basic, but it all matters. Yeah, so maybe that's great. I'd love to. I should do a video targeted on. I did a video on how to teach your kids about, money, and there's a video that you could show them on that. Some of those concepts apply, I think, to a 16 or 17-year-old too. But I like to do a video on how to like master budgeting and how to understand how to manage your personal finances, because there should almost be a course on that in school. A careers course does an okay job, but yeah, there's just definitely a need for this in the market. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll drop some more content for them to help them out. What are good areas in London to buy a property with a good cap rate? So East London's great. There can be pockets near Fanshawe College. I found pockets just east of downtown, south of downtown in Soho. In Northwest, there's some opportunities. In White Hills, I've seen some okay cap rates. That's about it. Near Western, I think south of Western, some good cap rates. All around London, there could be good cap rates if you know where to look. Off market, I found good deals all over London. But yeah, primarily not in the north. Primarily like super North London is like the elite place to live, and so there's just like the cost of land is super high, and it's hard to make a good hard to make good rental income to justify a good cap rate on purchase price, and price is just so high. But yeah, thank you so much for the question. I am a mother effing dog, 100%. I want to be like you when I grow up. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot. If you follow along the journey, I'd be happy to share and mentor you through social media. And if you watch all the videos, there's hundreds of hours of this content. You can just learn it all. Learn through my failure, Now I'll jump over to Facebook and see if there's any questions over there. Doing my research on rental properties, looking to buy my first property after I graduate from Western this December. I was initially thinking about starting small and building up to bigger properties. However, I've had what I think is a great opportunity present itself, a 6-bed, 2-bath. It is a personal sale, and I think it will cash flow like crazy. What do you think? Go big for my first property, or stick with my original plan and get my feet wet with something smaller? Yeah, if you have a great deal in your lap as a 6-bed, 2-bath, I don't think that's a huge deal. That's an average deal. But 6-bed, 2-bath is awesome. If it's a private deal, put it together. If you need to get your parents to co-sign, maybe you need a JV partner, reach out. If it's in London here, I'd be happy to connect you with financing. I probably know someone who could put the deal together for you. So thanks for putting that out there. Reaching out to people in the network who are experienced like myself, we can connect you with people to get the deal done. I would say take the risk. And a 6-bed, 2-bath is not too crazy. It's something I feel like you can manage reasonably. And bigger deals are better than smaller deals. You just make more overall, right? Like if the percentage is the same return on a $150,000 house as a $300,000 house, go for the $300,000 house, because you get a higher, instead of $1,000 return, you get $2,000. Same percentage return, but because you're dealing with a bigger amount, and if you can get the financing and swing it, then you'll have more cash flow coming in overall. So yeah, definitely, if it's a good enough opportunity, jump on it. Is it good to own rental under your name or under a numbered company? So Madhu, it depends. I did a video on this. For flipping, start a corp. You'll save yourself a ton of tax. You need to flip real estate instead of a corp. I flip real estate instead of a corp. I don't do it personally. If you're buying and holding, don't buy and hold in the corp unless you have like 20 buildings or more, 10 buildings or more. When you've maxed out all of your personal financing, like 10, 12 properties, then it makes sense to start doing stuff inside of a corp. What issue have you experienced with outsourcing property management, and how did you fix the problem, if there is any? So Austin, good question. I've experienced tons of issues with property management outsourcing, the same as I have with anything that you outsource. The problem is when you outsource something or you outsource a task to an employee, they are only ever 70 to 80% as good as you are at that task. So where your attention to detail is such that you won't miss something, they will. And so just expect there to be less competency overall. You might have to micro manage a little bit. Austin, I think that one of the challenges is making sure and vetting that the property management company is solid. There's lots of questions. We could do a whole video on just the checklist to ask property management company. But the worst case scenario is you hire a property management company, they aren't working out, you explain to them why it isn't working out, and then you get other management. And if they aren't working out, it's not a big deal. Unless they're like your JV partner, in which case, hopefully you guys got a good deal, because then you can still make money. The management won't matter as much if the deal's sweet enough. So hopefully that helps. Definitely appreciate your comment. Appreciate your question. What is the medical business you're invested in? Super curious. Mitchell, stay tuned. Buying this company, stay tuned. When it closes this week and I can start doing videos on it, I'm going to share about a lot of the things we're doing when I'm going to be in Toronto, checking out a lot of the opportunities for growth. And I'll be going to trade shows in Australia and Europe. So you guys stay tuned for that because I'm going to do some world travel and bring you guys along with me on the YouTube rides. That'll be kind of fun. Appreciate that, Mitchell. Okay, so next one. Watching. Is it good to own rental properties? We did that one. We did the research one on Western Atlanta property. I think I caught up all the questions, but let me scroll down. Madhu, no problem. Happy to help. How do I go about getting mentored? So the first thing is you should join the weekly mentoring sessions that are going to be happening by subscribing to the Patreon. That'd be a good place to start. So send me a direct message and we'll go from there. I maybe will do one-on-one sessions. Maybe I'll start doing some coaching. I might also allow my mentees to jump on and help coach because they've been sucking up this knowledge for 6 months. They're starting to gain proficiency. I think after a year or two of doing this with intense full time, once you get a few deals under your belt, they can answer most of the questions that I can't. And so they could escalate to me. And so I might do something where they have the opportunity to do some mentoring too, because I think you learn a lot through mentorship. When you get to give back, you get to refine your own practices. And so you say, hey, what, they ask you a question like, why do you do it that way? And you're like, oh, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I should do it this way. And so it's hopefully that we build this like network tree of mentorship where I'm at the top mentoring people, but my mentees have now learned who want to teach, who have an interest in that, can also teach, right? And so we build this big network of, in the end, I'm hoping to have hundreds and hundreds of JVs with all of my mentees who I've trained in real estate. And all these people are financially independent because I got them there. I taught them the skills to fish. Instead of handing them a fish, I hand them a fishing rod and I teach them how to use it. So that's the idea behind mentorship. And yeah, I hope you reach out and I hope you get some mentorship. I wish I had more of me to go around. There's just only so much of Mike to go around. I just can't mentor everyone that reaches out. That's why I just do full-time as well, because I think there's more value in mentorship. Some people have full-time jobs and they can't commit to the mentorship the way I'd like them to. And so coaching makes more sense. And maybe this is like a coaching mentorship opportunity as well. So there's something there. So reach out and we'll figure it out. Thanks for the question.
I'll coach in media.
There you go.
I'm not going to coach in real estate, but I'll coach
Kyle
in
doesn't want to
media.
coach in real estate, but he wants to coach in media. So if you want to talk about social media, Kyle's got the inside track on how I've done it and what I've been able to do. Would a $100,000 euro loan be interesting to Mike Rosehart to use in his real estate investments? What would the yield and the duration? So Marco, great question. Well, I would love to take $100,000 euro from you and invest it in my business. I prefer it in Canadian currency. So if you're willing to move that into Canadian currency and lend it to me, that'd be great. The foreign exchange risk is too high for me. If, for instance, the currency destabilized and there was a 10% difference in our currencies, imagine I was giving you a 10 or 12% return on your money, let's say, then a 10% currency destabilization, I transfer it back and it would cost me 22%, right, or 25%. So the risk is too high for me to borrow in other currencies right now without a currency hedge in place. I don't have anything in place. So while I'd love to take your money, fortunately I can't right now. But if it was Canadian, I'd be happy to do something and pay you out in Canadian because that's where I'm investing in the real estate on the Mentee Fund. But yeah, the Mentee Fund is looking for capital. How do I say this? Like I can't solicit for business. If you're an accredited investor and you have significant net worth, then you could lend me, and I would pay you 10 or 12% return and secured against real estate. So there's an opportunity there, and I would personally guarantee it. For if you know anyone who's interested in that or whatever, cool. We're at the 1 hour mark, and so I'm going to end this stream in just a sec here. Will you move into big apartment deals? Darius, probably, but it won't be my primary focus. My bread and butter is still the smaller deals. You get way better returns on your money. Rapid fire time. Your new strategy will make you become the Samuel Leeds in North America. Will you soon have successful mentees sharing their stories on your channel? Yes, very soon. That is coming. I'm excited to do that. Samuel Leeds is crushing. I love his channel. Love the stuff he's doing. I wish I could connect with him for free, but I don't think he likes to connect with people for free. Maybe if we get a big enough following, enough people ask him, we'll do a collab video or something. That would be really cool. Yeah, very, very thankful, everyone. Thank you all. As always, spend less, earn more, and maximize your returns to unlock a wealthier you. Those are the 3 levers you have to play with. Tell the 17-year-olds that. I tell the 35-year-olds that. I tell the 50-year-olds the same thing. I tell myself that every night before bed. Seriously though, guys, I gotta go. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my direct messages and in the comments. Cool. We had 68 people tune in there. We probably like 50 people here, and we had concurrently like 9 at one point on Facebook, but I'm sure there was probably like 50 people that popped in and out. So thank you all so much for watching. If you are wanting to support, we are going to start doing something very soon where you can support, and we start doing some more private coaching sessions. So for people who want the mentorship, I'm going to point them to those weekly sessions. And yeah, I think we'll get the mentees in too. Maybe as a part of this, they'll be doing a weekly 1-hour session as well. So then you can maybe have 2 sessions a week or something like that. So it's an interesting opportunity. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Bye-bye. Ending the streams. Have a good night, everyone. Stay hungry.